Hello, you beautiful beings of light. My name is Love Manifest. Publicly, I am a galactic energy intuitive, a mystic poet, grid keeper, torchbearer, and energetic support guide. Personally, I am known as Mom, Mama, or more classically, Mom, I need help. I am a homeschooling mother to a just 14-year-old son named McCoy. And I've been invited today to speak a little bit about our homeschooling journey and our co-creation over the last 5 years of a co-op community of about 20 to 25 women, and the genesis kind of that journey. So I feel very blessed to be able to discuss this today. It's a huge part of my life, the biggest part of my life. I live on about an acre of land next to a nature preserve and state park. And I live with my son and our puppy, who I call a puppy, but she's 11 years old now, who is also special needs in her own way. So we are a party of 3, and we all have our various different challenges that we are trying to navigate, and conversely, the gifts that come with that. As you know, it's never all just one thing. McCoy was born with a rare connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I was also born with that same condition. It is a genetic template, and it is a altering of the connective tissue in the genes. It manifests typically as dislocating joints, very fragile tissue throughout the entire body, fragile organs, and a lot of what would classically be known as dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system. It manifests typically in myself as all of my joints dislocating upon movement. With McCoy, it manifested as a severe migraine disorder, extreme sensitivity to light and sound, very sensitive motion sickness, and some other complications that kind of fall under this umbrella of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. McCoy, due to these severe health challenges at the time, was not known if he would be able to really leave the home, as he was so sensitive to light, noise, and sound, and to motion. And we began homeschooling him at the typical age of 5 years old. At that time, I was in a much different state of awareness. I was my consciousness was still heavily tied into societal templating and cultural templating. I wasn't really aware that there were other options in schooling. So taking this step into homeschooling was a big deal at the time. But McCoy couldn't ride in a vehicle for more than 5 minutes and was experiencing, almost daily migraines. So bricks and mortar really wasn't an option at the time. I knew that he was extremely gifted. He started speaking when he was 3 months old and was reading by the time he was about a year. He was off the charts phenomenal. And the first year of homeschooling, we did an online hybrid model, which was still linked to government public school systems here in the United States. And he did very well. However, he came to me at the end of that school year and begged me to put him into a bricks and mortar system. He is extremely extroverted and loves people, loves being around people, feeds off that energy, lights people up. He's a very, very gifted healer, empath, highly sensitive person. He also shares gifts of the clairs, as do I. And just being in isolation and never having any classical experience with other children was just something he couldn't cope with any longer. So we did begin a 3-year process of moving through the public school system. At that time, McCoy was identified as thrice exceptional. So he was a person with a quote unquote disability. I call it unique ability. With his Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And then he was identified as a person with autism and also as a person that was highly gifted in his IQ. The first few years were very stable in the respect that he was able to make some true and real friendships. However, he was placed in a contained unit that was anyone that was labeled quote unquote different. And it began to become very challenging for McCoy because although he was loving having these friends and the very kind of open environment that was able to be achieved kind of in a closed unit, he was 3 and 4 grade levels ahead of his peers when it came to the academic portion. And it got to a point where the teachers were no longer able to facilitate him. And at that time, they wanted to push him into mainstream classes. And it was really then that the trauma began to pile up to the point that he would have panic attacks the night before school. He would be physically sick to his stomach. It would spark off the migraines. I would be getting calls daily from the principal that just didn't know what to do with McCoy. He wasn't able to push through under the same model of what the expectations were, and they didn't have the capacity to really support him in his needs. It got so bad by 2020 that they were using a broom closet in the classroom for McCoy to use should he become overstimulated or overwhelmed or unable to fall in to the matrix of time and attention and expectation that a child must sit in a seat for 8.5 to 9 hours a day. Things that brought McCoy comfort and helped him navigate this very strange world were also a constant, continual problem. McCoy has always carried a stuffed animal with him, like this one he's given me. And this is what we call his emotional support animal. And this is what allows him to feel emotionally safe in the world. And they did not want McCoy to have his emotional safety. They were not supportive of him having, things like a water bottle with him or being able to stim in any way. And it got to a point where it was almost unbearable for me as a mother to be able to send him to the school system. Although 2020, as we know, was a very tumultuous year for the collective consciousness, it actually was a breakthrough moment for McCoy and myself because it gave us the permission slip to begin homeschooling again. And during that time, he had formed a very close friendship with another young man. And we used that time in 2020 to kind of flow back into a hybrid homeschooling method. So we elected to, in the next school year, kind of go back to this online school system, which is still really linked to the government school system. It's just taking that model, moving it online, and then executing it within the home. And although the staff were very supportive and there were a lot of supports when it came to occupational therapies and what's known as IEPs to get the extra help that McCoy needed, it was still modeled around this idea of testing. And this was a problem for McCoy. This would cause him to have so much anxiety over the perception of time and the idea of needing to be perfect and regurgitating all of the information that he was, being taught in these lessons, that he would be in the floor in a fetal position. We were able to make some headway when it came to the time that we started and the time that we finished and things of that nature, but it was still extremely restrictive, and the model of learning was simply knowing information, being able to regurgitate that information in large, vast volumes, loads of what, I would call busy work. There wasn't true education happening. And it was a large struggle for myself and McCoy for 2 years. And after the 2020 school year, his friend, his best mate, decided to go back to a bricks and mortar situation. So now we were kind of in the same place again, where we were happier with the homeschooling model, but it did not have the social support and structure that a child needs. And I was trying to fill these gaps with, little activities here and there where we may meet other children, but it was always kind of hit or miss, and it was nothing that brought him any kind of foundational support. We needed a village. And I went online one day and found a community that was just beginning, a co-op community, where we would meet once a week and the children would get together essentially for a kind of glorified play date with some art and, maybe some games and things like that. And it was wonderful. It began to satisfy our need. And that one day kind of moved into a 2-day program. And a lot of the women came and went, and the structures came and went. And we really started embarking on this 5-year journey of creating our own community in which our children felt safe, emotionally safe. They were truly learning how to build social skills. But we were also then, we began providing more opportunity for true education and wisdom. So we rented out the basement of a church building, and this basement is set up like a traditional school. There are classrooms, there is a cafeteria, there's a giant industrial kitchen, and once a week we all get together with our children from the hours of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For the core of the co-op. All of the women are expected to contribute in some way. So we have a volunteer spreadsheet, and the women like myself who want to teach, we teach curriculum. There are other women that prefer to do more of the cleanup crew. There's women that like to love to be around smaller children, and they volunteer in the nursery, because we do have a nursery. We run from 2 years old all the way up to at this time McCoy is in the highest grade level, which is I think our oldest is around 14 to 15 years old at this time. So it's a huge age range of children. It's a lot to organize. And so we do have a committee of board members, and we are listed as a nonprofit organization. And the board members run in the capacity of organizing, scheduling, treasury, the foundational support of the organization. And the rest of the community members, we all also co-create in kind of like an egalitarian kind of way. So we show up to this facility and we run classes. And these classes have really evolved over the last 5 years. And so has our own individual curriculums in our homes, which, as you get more and more confident stepping out of societal expectations, stepping out of societal structure, your curriculum begins to transform as well. We eventually went from this model of just replicating what was a governmental program to, over the years, trying different types of curriculum to fit McCoy and his learning style. And we're really blessed in this day and age for there to be so many different kinds of homeschooling curriculums. So the members of our community do everything from very academic, like we're doing with McCoy, to completely unschooled. And the courses that we focus on within the co-op community are not your typical academic. We're there to provide the extra, the cultural, the energetic. And, we are providing at this time an art course. And this art course has gone from sometimes extremely expansive to classical ways of understanding and learning about art and its culture. We have a theater program the children are involved with all year, and they put on 2 productions. And not only are they learning how to embody their bodies, we do not use microphones of any kind. And so the children are being taught how to harness their breathing and their voice and how to project their voice. We have different science programs that we do, depending on which of the ladies, what they're dreaming up for that year. And we also ask the children what they're interested in learning about in the coming year. And the science has really taken off into all different areas. I am teaching a class called Community Kindness. I have for the last 2 years, and we'll be teaching it again this year. And we have a science fair that we do every year where the children, all of this is elective. So the children are not required to do anything, but they all elect to do it, which is what's wonderful when you give the child a choice, is that they don't feel forced and they want to participate in these activities and these programs. So we have a science fair. The course on community kindness that I teach, the first year really focused on what is a community, who is in our community, and doing small acts of service. So we created our own email, and we went and hid various different crystals with the children put googly eyes on all over the community and left little positive notes that they wrote for community members to find. We've had parents help make blankets for the animal shelters. We've also put together packets for parents to keep in their car to give to unhoused people that they come across that may be needing a little support pack. We've done all different kinds of community supports. And then last year, the program that I taught, I did a spin-off and called it Tree Kindness Class. So we learned about the natural world as our community, and we learned about the wood wide web and mycelium, and I began to teach the children about energy and their own energy. We learned about self-love and self-compassion and ways of doing mirror exercises and affirmations and speaking good words and positive words over ourselves and that feeling, and how to harness that feeling and give that feeling to others. By the end of the year, I was able to show the children how to use their own energy centers and nothing else to light up a Simon Says, which was extremely empowering. And I will be teaching that course again this coming year. And then we also have music classes. And this year we will be offering, I believe, some basic understanding of astrology as it pertains to astronomy, and also some herbalism. And that's another thing we did with the children last year, was made oils, taught them about essential oils and alchemizing with these oils, and they made body creams and stuff for their mothers. We are secular, and so we have people from all different cultures, all different belief systems, all different backgrounds, and we choose to celebrate the seasons. So we often have potlucks, and we celebrate the turning of the season kind of in line with a lot of the major markings of the solstice and the equinox and things of that nature, and a lot of potlucks. We also meet once a week for a nature walk and teach the children about local flora and fauna. And although we're only meeting in a school setting once a week, the children are a part of each other's lives all the time. They play online together. They have play dates together. We do a camping trip together in the summer. This is a true village and a true community that we've created over the last 5 years, and it has been exponentially beneficial for not only McCoy, but also for myself. As I mentioned, I also have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and a few years ago was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was really these women that were energetically and emotionally supporting me at a time when I was very afraid to step out of the idea of Western culture and Western medicine, and decided to forego all of that treatment as it was extremely dangerous given my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and embarked on this journey of treating naturally. And these women have been supportive of that journey the entire time, wanting to know about it, asking about it. We have a teacher's lounge, and when we're not volunteering, the women are in these sharing circles, and we're talking about our lives. The teenage children obviously have had their struggles. They have had their issues where they felt like they've been bullied or mistreated or mishandled, and we handle that. They learn how to work through that with each other, both inside the co-op and outside the co-op. We all have each other's, numbers, and we are in, communication. And these kiddos are learning about what it means to be in a true community, what it means to have true friendship and true kinship, that you'll have ups and downs, how to work through their problems. And over these years, I've come to understand that many of these women are also neurodivergent themselves. Neurodivergence just means there's an umbrella of many different things. That could be autism, ADHD, autonomic dysfunction, or what these labels are. But what I've come to understand about not only these mothers, but these children, is that there's nothing wrong with them. Given the right environment and the right support tools and compassion, love, emotional safety, and understanding, these children thrive. They are allowed to have their plushies. They're allowed to dress in their onesies. They're allowed to be comfortable. If they're not vibing with the coursework of the day. Let's say it's an art lesson. They're allowed to do what we call parallel play. So they're allowed to just have their paper and their pencil and draw a picture because they're still there in and amongst the community. We do not reprimand other people's children if there is a problem within a classroom setting or outside a classroom setting. There's always a helper. The helper will go and get the parent, and the parent, along with the facilitator of the course, will talk to the child. And it's all a matter of the perspective and the energy that's brought. What I've come to understand about these unique and amazing children is that the reason why they struggled so hard in the public schools setting is that they just can't be programmed. They came here to break the mold. And we're doing that in our own small way. We are creating a new earth for these children that feels safe and inclusive, but is still stretching them, giving them a curious, open mindset. They are allowed to get up and stretch if they need to stretch. If they need a snack, they can get a snack. They're learning how to honor their own bodies, their own needs. They're learning how to advocate for themselves. They're learning that life doesn't run on linear time. And if they need a moment or they need a break or they're low productivity that day, how to take that and then how to harness that rest and use it the next day. There's so many different things that happen when you as a parent decide to stop handing your child over to a government system, a top-down hierarchical system, and spend and take that time to be with your child and to mentor that child, watch that child flourish and grow. As of right now, McCoy has gone from a person that was hiding under the table in a fetal position to taking college courses for the last 2 years. He's been learning Japanese, which he is passionate about for the last 3 years. And this last year, I have also found him a Japanese tutor who he gets to be online with once a week and learn conversational Japanese from an actual young man that lives in Japan. He was just accepted into a volunteer and intern program at the local zoo and began that a few weeks ago, where he is interfacing with the public. He gets to be behind the scenes with the animals, which is something he's been extremely passionate about since he was 4 years old. He was doing lemonade stands trying to save the sharks and change the public's perception on the sharks and how valuable they are to the ecosystem. He has started a stop motion animation course, which I found for him last year, and he is pursuing that to the point that one of the local businesses has asked if he will do their advertising with his stop motion animation that he does with Lego courses. And he's been taking a college level computer programming class. So he's decided this year to not stop schooling. Although we're in a break, he's still doing Japanese. He's still doing his stop motion. And he's now going to be creating his own video game this summer that he's been brainstorming about all year. So he has gone from a person that was working towards that summer break, that summer, I don't have to do this anymore, to someone that is electing to spend his summer learning and growing and volunteering for himself, the community, and the animals. And he's thriving. Is it a lot of hard work? Absolutely. It is. But so is anything we endeavor when we take full responsibility, sovereignty, and discernment for ourselves and our lives and the choices that we make. So that's just a little bit about what we've been up to with our homeschooling community. I hope that it really helps someone out there, or maybe inspires them to take that first step. You know, this has happened organically over a 5-year period. And 5 years ago, I was terrified of what it would mean for McCoy. Would he be successful? Would he still be able to secure a job? How would I get him a diploma? All of these questions. But slowly, bit by bit, thread by thread, you build your confidence and you just, move a little bit further out of that box. And you realize that it was the best choice that you ever made. And not only that, you can look back and say that you truly, truly mentored your own child. And I will be forever grateful, especially given my diagnosis, for the time that I've had with McCoy. He is an earth angel. He is a magical person. And it is a joy and pleasure for me to be Mom, I need help. I'm sending you all big, 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 big love. Bye.
Just wanted to say I love ya. Scully loves ya. Bye.